Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Flea Bagging in 2020. In this episode, we're going to talk about dating in 2020 after possibly a divorce, breakup. We're going to give you the steps to take before you decide to date, and also red flags to look for when you do decide to date, because those are important. But my favorite one is the gift of goodbye, because you have to have that. You have to be able to walk away in certain situations. So I found the term flea bagging in an article that I read about dating, different words, lingo that people use. So the article defined flea bagging as constantly dating people that are wrong for you. And that's a problem for many of us today. We don't take the time to get to know people, or when we do get to know them and we know there's something not right about them, we continue to date them anyway. So I chose that title for that particular reason. And the article also stated that it's more common in women by 63% than men at 38%. But what I found very funny was it ended with a quote of, "Women love bad boys or just boys that are bad for them." I also have my special guest today. Her name is Savanya.
Yeah,
How are you today?
I'm blessed. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We are so glad that you have joined us today. And she's going to be confessing some things that she went through with her divorce and then back dating again. So I'm looking forward to her spilling her tea. All right.
Yeah. Well, hey. First, I want to say thank you. This is a subject I feel that's very important for us as women in this dispensation in time, that we understand who we are, what we're doing as of coming out of bad relationships, bad situations, being abused, being neglected, being just emotionally tied to someone, as well as physically tied to that person. For me, first and foremost, I want to tell everyone that you can do it. You can do it. It's no way you can think in your mind that it's impossible. Anything's possible to do for us, especially when you search for yourself. First thing I can only recommend, and I would like to tell every woman, is to find themselves. When you get out of situations, a lot of times we don't know who we are. We have gotten ourselves in bondage being in those relationships and being tied to people. And those are soul ties. We're holding on to soul ties of people, and we truly have lost ourselves along the way. So for my own experience, and this is just my experience and my opinion, I feel that as we get older in life, women, it's not about just maturity level. It's about our mindsets, being able to understand that, okay, some of us, we don't have kids. I mean, our kids are grown. We don't have any small children at home. And a lot of people have stayed in situations because of children. A lot of people have been together because they felt they loved that person, stayed with that person because they felt they love them. I look at things to say where we need to find our inner strength is within ourselves. And when you find that, then you'll understand what it is to take to move forward, what it is, things you have to do to be able to put yourself in a position to where, first, love yourself. That's the first objective I did. Yes, I got out of divorce. I was divorced. I've been divorced 3 years, and I have been single, and I've dated. And in my dating process, I allowed myself to learn about me before I even started dating. I learned how to love me better. We say we love each other. We say we love ourselves, but at the same time, loving ourselves is not fixing ourselves up, glam, looking good all the time, dressing nice, having nice things. That's not loving ourselves. Being in love with yourself is putting yourself, setting standards, having boundaries of what you're willing to accept and what you're willing not to accept.
Okay, so let's back up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my friend done skipped
I sure
10
have.
pages ahead of me. Let's back up to the beginning when you and your husband were getting ready to divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Take us to that place mentally for you. Where were you mentally?
Mentally, I was checked out.
Define checked out.
I was numb. I was like to the point of, for me, I'm done. And done because of the simple fact that I was mentally, emotionally, psychologically drained. You know, I felt like I've given so much and I hadn't got as much as I gave. And then I had to evaluate myself on that, you know, because sometimes we're looking for those certain things because in someone else, but we really haven't really fully given it to ourselves. So with me, by me checked out mentally, it took me to a place to where I was at a place where I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore.
And how old were your children at that time?
My youngest was 15 and my oldest was like 21. So my oldest was already out the house. She was already grown and moved on. But I do feel that that marriage affected my younger one because my younger daughter is not from my husband. She was from a previous marriage I had.
I feel like when I mentioned the kids because when I went through what I went through,
Mm-hmm.
and like you say, you're mentally checked out.
Mm-hmm.
You mentally check out from your kids too for a second.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have to find your way back to yourself, you got to find your way back to your mother role as well.
Yes, exactly.
So it's important.
Yes, it's very important because like I said, she was affected too.
Yeah.
You know, your kids see your pain.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to really show or put it on display for them to know. They know when mother is hurting because mom's not the same. Mom not doing the same thing. Mom not interacting with them the same way. Mom is like just in her own space, in her own time. You know, it's just like that. I agree with you totally. I was one of those persons. I was there. I was that woman. You know, I couldn't mentally check in with my child and my children because I was mentally checked out of my situation.
And then once you figured out you was mentally checked out,
Mm-hmm.
so y'all separated, you divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So you found yourself in your own spot.
Right.
Then what was your next step?
Well, my next step was I took a year off from anybody. I took a year off from dating anybody. That year, I was finding me. I was finding Savannah. I was trying to find out who I were. You know, a lot of things, like I said before, I got lost in that marriage. I got lost in that relationship, mentally lost, you know, emotionally lost. And I did some self observing. I looked at myself. I looked at where the mistakes I may have made, the things that I have done. You know, a lot of times we go into marriages and situations thinking, you know, we haven't did anything wrong. But sometimes there are some things we've done wrong. And really and truly, me thinking back on everything and when I took time and I thought back, I really enabled my husband, ex-husband rather. I really enabled him in a lot of things. So when I tried to make the changes, it was hard to make the changes. That's when the problems start to come in. So that's why I really feel is before you start doing anything or being with other people, start know truly what you want and lay that down so you'll know. So the grounds and the boundaries and standards down. Because if you go into a marriage or a relationship and you're not fully knowing what you want and you're just going with the flow, as they call it, go with the flow. Sometimes the flow, I got the flow. I was going with the flow, letting things go on, and it enabled him. It didn't hold him accountable for anything. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I was abused physically because I wasn't physically abused. I was emotionally and mentally abused. because I was thinking I was trying to be the perfect wife, do the right things, say the right things, be submissive as they say as being a wife. I was trying to put myself in a position to just, be humble to his needs. And sometimes you take away yourself to satisfy your other partner. So I
A
just,
lot of us do that. That's common.
yes.
But I'll tell anybody that's listening right now, there is a book
Hmm.
that we read, Understanding the Power and Purpose of a Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And in that book, it tells you the roles of a husband and the roles of a wife. And after I read that, I said I should never been married, period, because neither one of us knew our role.
Right. Exactly.
I was busy being a man because I was doing everything.
Yeah.
And
I know.
not taking in, okay, he getting offended because I'm so used to doing everything. But then again, he don't know his role either.
Exactly.
So that knowledge,
that's the point.
I mean, it was like a light bulb. I'm sitting in the church, I'm reading this book, and I'm like, I should have never been married. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you say, you think you're doing the right thing, being submissive, because that's what we're taught to a degree.
Right.
But they don't go into detail of what that means. We're supposed to be helpmeets as wives.
We're supposed to be there, but vice versa.
Yeah.
It also biblically, it also speaks about our job is not to love the husband. The husband is to love his wife. You see what I'm saying?
As
Because
Christ
we
loved the church.
Exactly. Because God has already instilled that in us.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural. It comes natural for us to love. So men have to be taught. They have to learn how to love. That's why they supposed to submit themselves to Christ, and then they can understand on the meaning of how to love us.
Okay, we done digress into a whole
We
nother
sure have, girl. We sure have. We getting deep now.
Okay, so what did you like? Did you read books? How did you find you? Can you give us a roadmap to somebody that might be out there listening right now that they're trying to figure it out?
Okay. First off, I did a whole lot of crying by myself, baby.
Woo. You too?
I know y'all have saw The War Room, right? Mm-hmm. You saw that movie. If you haven't saw it, you should see it. I got out of that is the fact of knowing that I needed to get by myself. I needed to pray to God because my situation wasn't going to change. I was going to keep getting the same routine, picking up the same type of men in my life. If I didn't change something, if I didn't change the way I thought, my thought process, my mindset, I had to find a way to change something, do something different. So I just, like I said, I took a year off from dating, from entertaining. I'm talking about conversation wise, all that. I just took a year off to get me together. First and foremost, to heal. I needed to heal. I needed to heal. I need to learn my flaws, get to see where my imperfections were at. Mm-hmm. But as it came along in that year, God started revealing things that I needed to know, especially about myself. I asked God to reveal things about me, what it is that I need to work on. And when I did that, now I live off 7 things. There's 7 things that I go by. It could be more, but those are the 7 things that I truly commit myself as I move forward when I decided to start dating.
Can you tell us those 7 things? I'm interested. Spill that tea, girl. We need to know. We need to know.
And this just me. I mean, you can take it and use it for your own, but I it works for me. The first thing I looked when I started dating, my first thing was I have to be with someone that has a relationship with Christ, that knows God for himself. I'm not saying he got to be holier than thou. Let's get that right. Because, some people get that, he got to be this. No, he just have to have an understanding in a relationship to know who God is, who is Jesus. That's for me. That's the first thing. Second, he has to be persistent. He has to be driven and motivated.
persistent, and consistent.
Wait a minute, girl. You going to my next one now. You're going to my next one. That's my third.
Yeah.
It's consistent. Because if he's not persistent, he's not going to be consistent.
Correct.
So that's my third is persistent. I mean, consistency. You know, I need a man that consistent with the things he do and the way he is and the things he say for us, the way he act, the way he speak to me, the way he talk to me, how he treat me. You know, he got to be consistent with me on that. Fourth, I need to have a man that's able to communicate.
That communication is key.
Yes.
I have run into so many people that do not understand that there is a sender and a receiver.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need to receive the message.
Yes. And I need a man that communicates because I'm a communicator.
Yeah.
I communicate my feelings. I'm not the one to hold feelings inside of me like that. I have to be able to communicate. That's the fourth thing. The fifth thing is being able to have someone that's honest. An honest man. That's going to get to my sixth thing. Because the sixth thing is trustworthy. You can't trust somebody that ain't honest. You understand what I'm saying?
You can't trust if they don't do the other five you just mentioned.
Right.
They can't be trusted anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know,
true.
You know, and last but not least, my seventh is loyalty. I need you to be truly committed to me. Committed into where we're going, what you see us, where forth we're moving forward to. If you can't do those things, then for me, when I put that list together for myself, that's something that works for me. And reason why it works for me because I set the boundaries. I set the boundaries. It's not that I'm trying to make myself like, oh, I'm hard to get or I can't be, you know, oh, she got too much expectations and this and that. No, it's not that. I just expect more from a person that I'm willing to give just as much expectations. If I'm asking you of those things you don't think, I have to be willing to give them myself.
It's a saying that I read. Sometimes we think we're asking for too much.
Thank you.
But the problem is we're just asking the wrong people.
That's it. We are. That's why it's so good to date. And for me, dating, to me, I feel like a lot of women jump in looking for that man. Oh, this is going to be my man. No, you date to receive data. That's what dating is about. It's data. Mm-hmm. It's to get to know of this person, who this person is. Mm-hmm. A guy have asked me, he say, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want from me. I have been asked that by guys, men. And I say, I look at them, I say, just show me who you are. Because if you tell a man everything that you want, he's going to strive at trying to do that for you. And he will never be able to show you the true him. So I like to figure, I want to know the true you. Just show me you. Everything else, the layer is going to fall off. I'm going to be able to identify, I'm going to know, going through my 7 lists, my 7 things on my list, I'm going to know if you're the one for me or not. Because you're going to show me who you truly are.
I don't like when someone says, well, what is it that you want?
Yeah.
When I meet somebody, my first question to them is, what are you looking for in a relationship? Mm-hmm. And if they can't answer, then that lets me know you wasn't thinking about a relationship when you asked me out. You was just
thinking about relations.
Correct.
That's different.
Red flag, I'm gone.
Yes.
I'm out.
Yes. Relations. I mean, a lot of guys, and that's what they look for. You know, some of them. I have been blessed to say I have met some quite a few. I haven't dated a lot, but I've dated a few guys and I've met some good guys. Very successful men, well educated, well groomed. But I'm here to tell you now, they just as jacked up as anybody. So it's to me, I think dating is all about the individual person, where their mindset is at. What is it that they truly want? A lot of these people, women and men, a lot of people don't know what they want.
Correct. They haven't even thought about it.
They don't know what they want.
And I was that person at one time. It's okay to be that person, but it's not okay to stay that person. That's where growth come in. Because I was that person. I would meet guys and they'd be like, okay, so what are you looking for? And I'm like, I don't know, just doing something. You know what I'm saying? At the time, that's because I was still broken from a previous relationship.
Right. And you're not willing to open yourself up then. So everything that you're going to look at, everybody that you meet, you're going to always, it's going to start off with failure. Because your first thing is, oh, he ain't right. He full of it, you know, or something like that. He's playing games, you know. But I've learned, I ask God to protect me. Protect my heart, protect my mind. Give me discerning. Give me the gift, the spirit of discerning to know that this is not for me, you know. And you have to, that's why I say being able to come out of relationships, or not even if you've been by yourself for so long, just get to know you. Know what it is that you want. Put those boundaries in place. Put those standards in place. Because can't no man do nothing to you that you don't allow.
Correct. And when I went through a situation, I sat down and I asked myself, the problem is not the things that that person was doing to me, but why was I letting him do it?
Right. Right.
So I took 2 years to self-check.
Yeah.
Why was I letting this person do this to me?
And did you ever see yourself when you got into another relationship going through the same thing?
No, that's why I do these shows.
Because I know some women, they found themselves
I went from 2 physical, abusive relationships back to back. So I couldn't understand why did I keep drawing that energy.
Right.
It was because of the way I was presenting myself at the time.
That's the point. That's the point.
I was a people pleaser. But trust me, I've learned the hard way. That doesn't work either. You can do everything under the sun to try to please people, and they still gonna find something wrong or something, whatever's going on, and use it against you. I'm talking about like with the man. For me, that's my story. So I had to learn something different behavior.
You got to. I mean, like you said, you have to. It's because you know what it becomes in being in these different relationships and having different experiences. It becomes addictive behavior. And I've read books about addictive behavior. And all those signs goes back to us, you know, for us, what we lacked of coming up as young women. You know, I'm one of the ones, I didn't have a father figure in my life. I didn't know how to love a man. You know, yes, I had a stepfather when I was coming up, but he just showed me about provide. He didn't show me the family oriented. And when I got with my ex-husband, that's what made me fall in love with my ex-husband, because he was very family oriented. And he came in my life with my kids, my 2 kids. My baby was 2, 2 years old. My oldest was like 6. So 6, 7, one of them numbers. But he came in my life when they was young, and that stability of having both parents, I wanted that. I wanted to be able to have my kids raised in the house where they can see, male, female, a father and a mother, figures in the house, making it work. No, it's not perfect. No relationship is perfect, But I strived at not allowing my kids to see a lot of the dysfunction and toxicness that was going on, But like you said earlier, it's just so hard to not shy away when you're going through so much pain and hurt and feeling some kind of way. On the outside, where nobody knew what was going on. Oh, I can walk around and carry my problems well. You never saw my issues or things that was going on in my household, because I never showed it. It wasn't written all over my face. I knew how to do that. I knew how to walk around and not let that. But one thing I could say, although going through all that, I never allowed that to consume me. to consume my mind to the point where I really couldn't be happy. I was going more into a mental situation where I didn't want to be depressed with that situation. You know, I didn't want to go into a depression. So I think that's why I was woman enough and I came and I went to my ex-husband and I say, look, our relationship has become toxic. And before I let it become physical to where it gets to the point where it gets real bad, I think we need to part in ways. I needed to go. Of course he didn't agree. He didn't agree with that. But it gave me time to get myself together. It gave me time to get myself together. And we separated for a while before I just did the divorce. You know, because I had to be sure. You know, you don't want to just walk away and say, ooh, woosah. And yes, we went through marriage counseling. We went to 2 marriage counseling.
I did.
So
she wound up helping me more than my marriage. And I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, but now I'm on the dating scene, girl.
Okay, let's get back to the dating. We not finna go through this depressing food.
Yes.
But it is some knowledge out there. Somebody might need to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, because you, as women or some people, we're gonna go through that.
Yeah, we are.
So you got yourself together. You got in your place. Okay. So now let's speed up to Savanya done found herself. Savanya is doing her.
Yes, I am.
You're getting ready to go on your first date. What happened?
It was good. I mean, I met up. Until you go on the date, don't let them pick you up at the house. You meet them. You don't go on no first date and let no man pick you up. Nowadays, you can't trust everybody. Even though you might see them or talk to them a lot. But when you go out on your first date, allow yourself to meet up with this person. Meet up. It was nice. Have, like I say, good conversation. You know, I look at if we can engage with each other or hold a conversation. I look at those. Can this man be able to make me laugh? Can he be able to hold a conversation with me? And more about, see if he really want to get to know me. Now I get to know, you know, I've had guys ask, you know, what you do for a living. Of course, everybody asks that question. I want to know what you do for a living, you know, and how many kids you have. Most important for me, I ask, are you a part of your children's life? That's important for me. You know, I want to know if you can be responsible enough to tell me, oh yeah, I do for my kids. I'm not saying pay child support. Are you a part of their life? That's a difference.
That's true. But you did that on the first date?
Oh yeah. When he get to asking all them questions, I'm telling you, these men ask you questions. So when they ask you questions, you got to throw questions back at them. They asking me how many kids you are. Yes, on the first day they ask you that. They probably don't want to. They probably want to know. Look, she got about 5 children. I mean, you can't get mad at that.
No.
You know, I don't get mad. So you know, get it all out.
I read somewhere, I don't know, I'm always reading and looking at videos. I'm up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's why I'm always looking sleepy, because I'm always reading and looking at stuff. So anyway, I love this guy. His name is MJ Harris. And he said, like, he had these dating questions. So one that stuck out with me was, what happened in your last relationship?
Yeah, I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. All that stuff goes on in conversations. You may think it nowadays it don't happen, but it does.
I experienced that too.
Yes.
And to me, that's a turnoff. If I ask a man, you know, what happened in your last relationship? And they're like, oh, well, she did this and she did that. But okay, so what did you do?
I have been asked that. And, you know, they ask me, why am I single? And a lot of times, you know, they say, oh, well, don't give me that saying by choice. I said, no, honey, I ain't saying I'm single by choice. I'm single because if I would have had the right one, and if I would have been right, I would have been married. If I had my choice, I'll be married. But I'm not just going to go marry and be with anybody. That's the difference. So I'm sitting here waiting and just enjoying my life and enjoying me first. So when God bring that right one in my life, I'll be able to enjoy him too, as long with myself, because I'm not going to be able to take away from myself. And I think a lot of times if you get with someone, a person's supposed to add to your life, never take away from you. And I always said I'm not going to be in another relationship where I feel like they taking something away from me.
And a lot of us, we find ourselves in that place, and then we're there. We remain stuck.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how to get out.
Right.
And another thing that you said that stuck out with me was the children. You wanted your children to see, a mother and a father.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us stay stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this man was beating the crap out of me.
Now, that's a different situation.
No, I'm talking about for me.
Yeah.
Even though this man was beating the crap out of me, I still tried to keep it away from my kids. But when they got older, they let me know, no, mama, you wasn't doing a good job, basically. Because they knew everything was going on.
Anything that's dysfunction, you're right.
Saying that to say, I stayed there because I wanted them to have those two people in the, mother and father in the home.
That's wrong.
And that's the wrong decision.
That's wrong. That's why I said I had got with my ex-husband because he was family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
He was real good with the kids. But as the time went by, he was always good with kids, the children.
Mm-hmm.
It was the woman he wasn't good with. That was the difference. So I decided not to stay because of, the situation. I enjoyed the fact that he was able to be there for my children, step up, be the man to come into my kids' life, and be a father figure for them. He loved them. But me, on the other hand, it was some work needed to be done for us how to treat me. He wasn't, like I said, I'm not going to never sit here and bash him and say he was an awful person, But he had some dysfunction with him. And he had been married, and I think he brought, as we always say, you bring over baggage from past relationships.
Yeah. Previous show.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that my exes were all bad. I'm just going to say they had issues that they hadn't dealt with. And a lot of us are taking a brunt because they haven't dealt with those issues.
But I had them. I had issues I hadn't dealt with.
Yeah. I'm talking about as far as their behavior towards you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not per se you. It's just some things that they haven't dealt with and they don't know how to deal with it. So they're doing it in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, after everything is said and done, you can't take it too personally because, they have problems just like everybody else,
Yeah.
And I have my own dysfunctions as well.
Exactly.
I know where my problems lie.
Right.
To a degree. I might not know all of them, but I know enough.
Yeah.
To sit down
somewhere. We all know.
Yeah. I know enough,
All know.
So you went on a date. You asked questions. That's right.
Well, yeah. Questions was asked to me.
How long do you date before you say, okay, well.
But after that first day, I figure out if I know I want to go on another date.
Okay.
I have went on a couple of dates where I went for a second time. And I think it was more of, they was okay, but the conversation just got dead.
Mm.
It just wasn't, I just didn't have that feeling of like, okay. Because like I said, with going with my 7 little things, I just go down the list of seeing what it is. And it was the fact that they didn't pass, or I ain't gonna say pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I have read something and I was told this, and this is what I learned. You have to, how can you trust what you never tested? Mm-hmm. So I had to put them to the test to see if they could pass the test. How I'm gonna be able to trust you if I can't test? If you gotta test the spirit by the spirit. If I want to trust you, I want to be able to get to know who you are and allow you in my space, in my world, then I have to test to see who you really are.
And that is an important tool.
Yes.
And I've learned the hard way. You have to. Let them speak, let them answer your questions, and then you sit back and watch to see if it's the truth.
Exactly. Yes. You got to.
Because if not, you just can't take it for face value.
No, you can't. Can't take it just for words. Because you got some men that's so strong, manipulative, baby. They smooth operators.
Have you in a tailspin. One time I looked in the mirror, I'm like, what happened to Nikki? Nikki don't do any of the things that Nikki like to do no more. It's always about the spouse and what they want.
And
Knowing deep down, I really don't want to do these things, but I'm just doing them,
Yeah.
get along. And that's dysfunctional. That's something I learned about myself in the process. And it's hard sometimes for me because I'm the type of person, I'm kind of quiet to a degree.
Right.
But then again, not anymore. So don't look for that person anymore. If I got something to say now, I'm going to say it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I apologize. No disrespect. But I had to get that off me.
That's what you have to do. And a lot of times, like I said, I've learned how to respond rather than react.
Yeah.
I've learned how to respond rather than react. So I think a lot of times we just have to know how to be able to express ourselves without putting ourselves in more anxiety. Sometimes when people try to express themselves, they go through an anxiety.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't want to do that. You always want to be able to don't hold nothing. If you feel some kind of way, is something going on, speak it.
Yeah, that's true. But when I did begin to, communicate, I was involved with somebody that had no communication skills. So it made it frustrating for me, But I'm learning
It is.
to recognize if a person has communication skills or not.
Telling you.
Because you can tell a person something. This is how I test people. I may say something to you and then ask you a question about something that I said to even know whether you even pay me any attention. Or can you even tell me what I just said to you? And if they can't tell me, then you're not listening to me. You're listening to me, but you're not taking in what I'm trying to tell you.
The attention span is not there.
Gone. It is gone.
Ooh.
So what else? What else do you do for your dating? Like, let's skip past that first date. Did you ever get back into a serious relationship after that? Or you just continuing to date and grow?
No, I had dated this guy, and me and him dated, and we try to see where things went with it and everything. He was a good person, real good person, real sweet guy. But I started to see some different things. Everything at first was real good, but I started seeing the lack of. And then I started, how you hear things from people and they tell you, give a person a shot, don't be so hard. That's the favorite thing people want to tell you. So I kind of swayed back a little bit. I said, well, you know what? Let me step back a little bit and see what's going on.
Breaking them boundaries.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so I told myself, I said, I cannot break my boundaries. I've already done enough. It's just like I put up with a lot. And I'm gonna tell you my story of the guy I dated. We dated and we worked on being in a relationship. Just worked on it. I didn't make it try to make it too exclusive. I just wanted to make sure that we was getting to know each other, try to learn each other.
Mm-hmm.
I started seeing light. I started seeing a whole different person. I started seeing the inconsistencies of the persistent part. I'm a go-getter. You know what I'm saying? I tell anybody, it ain't about me looking for a man to come in and pay my bills and do this and that and other, because by the grace of God, I go to work. I have things going on in my life to support myself. But of course, as a woman, you don't want to be with someone that's not going to be able to provide or do the things that he's supposed to do for us, y'all household, if y'all choose to be together, make a future. So being with him and something told me where this the spirit. I know what it was. Told me I dated him and to say we wasn't intimate, put it like that, we wasn't intimate till later in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wound up saying to myself, probably about 2 months later after the intimate part, something just came on my spirit, say, you got to take a step back. No, you got to step back. So I come to him with a proposition.
Spill it, girl. What was the proposition?
I say, you know what? My spirit tells me we need to practice celibacy before. And celibacy, it takes all that out your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so profound for me to do that. And I'm glad to share that because I'm not ashamed of that.
Yeah. No. What did he do? What did he say?
At first he was like, okay, yeah. Like he was down with it. He was like, yeah. And I say, we need to do that because I feel like this is something that we both need to do. If we're talking about moving forward, trying to build a future and stuff together, we need to really see if this is what it is, if we're really going to make this work for us.
Mm-hmm.
When you take sex out of the equation, ladies, listen to me. When you take sex out of the equation, your mind is clear, honey. Woo, Jesus.
Sex and alcohol.
Yes. Your mind
Please remove
is
it.
clear.
Yeah.
My mind was so clear that's when things was being revealed. Layers was laying out.
Mm-hmm.
Showed me. That ain't the one. It showed me in a matter of not even 3-4 months. That ain't the one. He's not going to be that one for you. He's not a bad person, as I say again. I won't never say he's not a bad person. He's just not the one for me.
Exactly.
That's the purpose of me saying you got to know what you want.
Like they say, what is it? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that goes in relationships.
Yes, it does. It does. So
those boundaries are so important.
Yeah, it is. That was very profound. That was a profound moment for me. I think that made me become a whole different type of woman.
So do you do that in your relationships now? Or are you still with that person? Well, you're not with that person.
I'm not with that person anymore.
Right. So do you still do that now?
Well, I have. Yes, I have. I've dated another guy, but we didn't, But I am dating a guy now, And me and him are more exclusive now. That's becoming my man,
Ooh, she got a man.
Girl, yeah.
Let's see now. She got the man.
And he stepped up to the plate, and I haven't given him I haven't told him anything of what I wanted. I haven't had to ask for anything. Mm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And of course, the questions were, when you find someone that you feel that you're comparable with, you wonder like, hey, well, why you by yourself? Those are the things you wonder, And so we had a conversation. I waited till he was ready to tell. I didn't pursue it. I didn't try to force him to give me any information, but he wanted me to know who he was. And that's what I liked. Because if I had to ask you, then I really didn't care too much. So he was like, he told me the situation and how he became single and everything. But what I enjoy about it the most, he make me laugh. He makes me laugh and he makes me a priority.
That's very important.
Yes. If you get with someone that's not making you a priority in your life, in their life, they not trying to be with you. They're not trying to be with you. It's just all about what they can get from you.
Correct. And like you said, the person you with now, you didn't have to ask nothing.
I ain't have to ask nothing. I still don't have to ask nothing. And yes, we live in separate homes. But anything I need is anything I need. My needs are being met. Pray with me. We eat together. We pray together. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I mean, it's things you need. And he didn't even know what I just told y'all about them. He don't know nothing about them at all. But I definitely have put him to the test, to see if he was going to be the one that's going to be able to be. Now, look here. I'm going to tell y'all like anybody, ain't none of us perfect. He ain't perfect.
Yeah.
I ain't finna sit here and paint him a picture as if he's a perfect person. But he has a good heart. And let me tell you one thing I say all the time. If a person got their heart right and their mind right, they'll know how to treat you right. Can't nobody treat you right if they all discombobulated and dysfunctional and toxic. You won't be able, you can't treat nobody right if you that way. So it's important for you to get your mind and your heart right before you go into relationships.
Yeah, that's the first step. When you coming out of a breakup and you're getting ready to date, the first thing you got to do is heal.
Yes.
And one thing I always say, there is no time limit to healing. Take your time.
Yes.
Whenever you are ready.
Whenever.
You know, some people may take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I don't know, 20 years. Mm-hmm. But do not put yourself out there to date someone when you're not ready. Because then you're going to open up a whole nother can of worms you don't want.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You're absolutely
right.
And
the self-evaluation is so important.
Yes, it is.
So in this article I read, they gave you steps to take. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they said is figure out where you've been so you don't go back there.
There you go.
So just like Tavania said,
you got to,
once you come up with your things that you want in a mate, mm-hmm. you stick to that.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. You probably won't meet a person that's going to meet however many things in your list. Sometimes it's about if they make you feel a certain way or you in your gut. The one you call it the spirit, some people call it gut.
Yeah.
You will know. I call it spirit too.
You call it spirit too?
I call it spirit too.
It's a spirit.
When the spirit say run now, guess what Nikki do? Run. I no longer hold that inside thinking, no, maybe.
That woman intuition, they say that too. Yeah. Women intuition.
So when you hear it, if you know that person is not fitting into the mold of the person that you want them to be, then it's okay to walk away. But do it in a, a good manner.
And I'm not just speaking just to bash men.
Yeah.
I'm speaking men too. You got women that's just dysfunction.
I just want to say this goes across the board, not just, unfortunately my male guest bagged out. So I did want a male and a female perspective, but I just can't get y'all males to come in here. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so that was on the list. Then once you figure out your type, well, what the article said is after the divorce, your type should change. Because you married what you thought was your type then.
Right.
But as time goes on, your type is going to change. So it's very important that you figure out what is your type at that time. Don't go back to what you had before because that's not you anymore. And pay close attention to people. And let people show you who they are versus you letting them tell you who they think they are.
Yes.
If that makes any sense. Oh, and listening. Communication. Listening is important. Sometimes you ask a person a question, just sit back and let them answer it and don't interrupt. Just let them talk and you listen.
Absolutely right.
That is important, not only in that dating, but just in relationships, period. Now we're moving on to the red flags. Red flags. Okay, so what, do you have like a list of red flags that are just,
well,
besides the ones on your list if they don't,
Well, that's just what my expectation.
Yeah.
My list is my expectation. Red flags is when, like I said, he's really not basically being consistent. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
That's a red flag for me. Mm-hmm. When he's inconsiderate. That's a red flag for me. Liars. You got to constantly be lying about something. I mean, we grown people now.
Yeah.
We dating. You have no reason to sit here and lie to me. I have no reason to lie to you. Think about this when you're dating someone. Before you meet them, don't you think they met someone else? Or they had other people in their lives before you met them? Some people walk in and be like, oh, well, I'm not talking to no one and I'm not dealing with no one. But then you find out this person is talking to multiple people. He's dealing with multiple people or she's dealing with multiple people. What's the reason to lie?
I don't understand that either. And I tell a person when I meet them,
really,
once I ask you what it is you're looking for, my next thing is they'll ask you, what is it that you don't like? And I don't like liars. So if sex is all you want, just say that. Who knows?
Right.
I might do it.
Right.
But
Give you
don't
the
lie to me.
choice.
Yeah. Don't lie to me and say, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I want this. I want that. When you really don't want that. You don't know what that person's answer is going to be.
Yep.
But just tell the truth.
That's what I'm saying.
And I never understood why people still would choose to lie. I don't know.
Red flag for me.
Yeah.
Always hiding that phone, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Hiding that phone.
Or turning it upside down.
Yeah. That phone don't ring when you around. That's a red flag. It be blowing up while you ain't there. But when you around, you don't get no calls.
Okay, I got a story with that.
Tell your story, girl.
I have a friend girl, and she would call me early morning, 7, 8 o'clock. So I'm with my friend guy. I don't want her calling me at 7, 8 o'clock, so I just turned my ring off. So one day he called my phone, and I said, he was testing me. But the only reason I turned my phone off because I know her. She's going to call me that same time every morning. You know, sometimes I don't want people in my business, so I'm not going to tell you where I'm going.
Right.
But in his mind,
that phone off. Yeah.
In his mind, he thinking your phone never rings. So when I picked my phone up the next day, I said, this man called me in the middle of the night to see when my phone rings. Like, wow. Never said nothing to me about it, though. But that's true.
Did he treat you differently?
Yes.
He knew.
And I couldn't say anything. Even though it was innocent on my part, I couldn't say anything. That was a poor choice I made.
And you should have just been honest with him and say, look, if my phone rings something in the morning, that can probably be my girlfriend calling, you know. Just be honest.
I wasn't thinking like that. I was just thinking that's rude. Let me just turn the thing off.
And then it's your phone. I tell my gentleman, my boo, I tells him, you know, we don't hide our phone. My phone ring, I've had a pass. We all got a pass. Yeah. Think about it. When you date someone and you really in tune with that person and you may not heard from these people. And then all of a sudden out the blue, somebody call you up.
That's true.
That happens on both sides.
Yeah.
You should never get offended. When I get offended is if you don't rectify and handle the situation. Now, if you say we together, then let that be known, because whomever I may have previous conversations with or relations with, I'm going to let them know, oh, I have someone that I'm interested in. We're trying to get to know each other. So could you not please call me anymore? There's nothing wrong with saying that.
I think another reason I did that too, not because of my girlfriend, but I was bringing my past into that relationship, because the person I was with before, if my phone rang, now mind you, I had no lock on my phone or anything, but if my phone rang and it was somebody like that, that person would swear up and down it was somebody else. So after a while, now I'm got, what they call it, post-traumatic stress syndrome now. So I'm like, let me turn my phone, because I don't have time to be arguing with nobody about my phone ringing. It's nobody but my friends calling.
Yeah.
And Lord forbid if it's somebody, like you said, that don't know that I'm dating somebody or whatever.
And you ain't heard from them, Lord knows
months
when.
and Sundays, and they just pick up the phone and call.
And that 9 out of 10 chance, that normally happens when you start getting serious with someone, people out from your past show up.
And like you say, I'm the type of person I would tell them, well, you know, I'm in a relationship, whatever.
Yeah.
But I have friend guys.
And me too. And that's what
it's nothing between us. We're just friends.
Right.
But some people
be honest with that, though.
But some people don't understand that.
And some people are not receptive.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I told my gentleman friend,
gentleman friend.
I like to say that. He's a gentleman. I told him, you know, I have guy friends.
Yeah, you being honest.
And I'm being very honest, you know, and I told him that they might call every now and then, but all I can do is tell them, oh, I'm with somebody. And my guy friends, they very respectful.
Exactly.
They respect the fact that if I say that, they're going to say, oh, okay, Savannah, we're going to respect your relationship. Exactly. Just holler at us. You know, I'm not going to act funny with them and stuff. I might text them or call me every now and then. Hey, what's going on? Make sure you good. You know, that's how you're supposed to do. You can't change because you with someone. You just make sure you got the boundaries set.
Exactly. And honesty is very important.
Very important. That's why I say I need honesty. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I have no reason to lie.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes, you know, it might be something that may happen I had not mentioned to you. That's because I just didn't bring it. It just didn't dawn on me at that time. Something could have distracted me. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you the truth. You know, I'm going to tell you the truth.
And I'm the same way. I just feel like being honest is best. Just put it out there and be done with it. And that I expect my spouse to be the same way.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's going to hurt my feelings. I don't care if I'm going to be mad at you. But I want you to tell me the truth so I can deal with it and move on. I'm not the type of person that just keep lingering, holding on to stuff because I'm mad and I'm going to do this. No, I'd rather deal with those feelings and move on.
And women need to do that even being in a relationship. When your man ain't doing something right, don't be sitting there letting it and just being mad and having an attitude. You let him know, you know, but it's all in timing.
Yeah.
It's not about what you do or it's how you do it. It's all in timing. Just don't be mad and go and have a conversation. Wait till you calm down. Wait till you get at most settled. Your mind is at ease. Your blood pressure ain't up. Because you know when we get our blood pressure boiling, anything lie to fly out our mouths. And that ain't the proper way. You ain't gonna get nothing resolved like that. He's not gonna hear that.
You both screaming.
Exactly.
Nobody's. And it took me a long time to realize that because I really was a screamer. I've gotten better now. I think, then I speak.
Yeah.
I'm more observant now. But if you make me angry, I've learned how to deal with that anger first before I speak. You know,
Red
and that
flag,
goes for any relationship.
Don't get neglected.
Oh yeah, neglect. But like you said, that consistency plays a part in that too.
Yeah.
Because everybody on their best behavior the first, I say 3 to 6 months. After that 6 months is when you'll really start to see if that person is who they say they were. I mean, you can watch them along the process. But that's just me.
And it ain't taking a long time for people to expose themselves. Yeah. It's not taking a long time. You know how they used to say back in the day, oh, you don't know that man. Oh, this man was good for all these years. Girl, he just changed on me. Nowadays, it's coming quick.
And why do you think that is so? Or do you think back a long time ago that the women just kind of ignored things? Or what do you think?
Yeah.
And then maybe when that light bulb go off, it's 20 years later, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what happened? Maybe you've been asleep.
I think we just change with time. Yeah. The things have changed in this time. If you think about it, a lot of the men ain't like the men were back then.
Yeah.
You know. True. I'm not saying the men didn't have their flaws because my grandfather and them had some flaws.
Yeah.
You know.
I had a client, he'd been married, I think he told me like at that time, maybe 50 or 60 years. I was young then. I was probably 25. So I was like, well, how did you stay married so long? And he said, the women of today will not put up with the things that the women in my time put up with. You quick to walk away. But back then, women didn't divorce like that. They stayed in the relationship or they stayed in the marriage.
Right.
And he said, I know I didn't treat my wife well, but she stayed. And he was like, that's the difference between, today and then back in. So I always kept that in the back of my mind too.
But a lot of us women, because we hold, it's more because our power now. We didn't have that. Women back then didn't have much of a voice.
That's true.
Nowadays, us women, we have a lot to say. We have voices. We have our own identities. To where the man was the head, he's still the head today, but you still have your own voice. And by being single, not having that significant other in your life, you have to play both parts, male and female. You know what I'm saying? You have to play both of them. You got to play provider. It was built for men to be the provider.
And that was a problem with me. Like I said before, I didn't know my role in the marriage. I was so used to paying all the bills, doing everything on my own. It was hard for me to let that role go because I was so, used to.
Not me.
It was hard for me to let it go because I guess I didn't fully trust that person. Now that I think about it, because I'm thinking, what my kids be on the street and this man don't, pay any bills. Yeah. That was my thought process, not letting him lead. But I guess I shouldn't, like I said, I should never been married.
I learned early about that. I was a 13-year-old, 14-year-old little girl with a little boyfriend that used to always give me money and stuff. learned earlier about a man supposed to provide. I ain't never been with a man that didn't provide.
No, I'm not saying the
No,
man
I'm
didn't
saying-
provide. I'm saying once I was single for so long and doing everything, I'm like a single mother, taking care of my household
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah.
Now I'm about to incorporate somebody in. It was hard for me to let that role just go like that. I don't know how to describe it. You've been doing something for 20
By
years.
yourself. I understand what you're saying. You've
Yes,
been doing it
I
by
get the-
yourself for so long, and then somebody else come along. Is that I have been like that. I've been
Like,
single
wait
by
a minute.
myself, and somebody came along, but I just knew how to fall off that layer. I didn't fall off for being persistent and consistent on making sure my job went from paying the bills to making sure the bills got paid.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I never put myself, see, my issue was always control.
Mhm.
I always wanted to be in control of my situation. It wasn't about trying to control him or
Yeah,
no
that's
one
me.
else. I always wanted to
I just need
control
to make
my
sure.
Yes.
Even though this person was paying the bills,
Yeah, you
let me
want to
tell you
make
how
sure.
distrust I was. I go back and find a receipt. I just had to see that to be sure that you're doing what you say you do. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, what happens if you walk out that door? What I'm
So-
going to do? So I
so-
want to make sure that this
So
is
he
done.
would pay the bills. He wouldn't let you pay them.
Yeah. So I need to make sure that's what
Okay.
you're
so
doing.
That's a different situation.
Yeah.
See, mine was allow me to pay the bills.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. So I dealt with different scenarios.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I said. We all go through something different, but we going to round back to the same place.
Same place. But I was definitely in control though. I was like, I gotta make sure my bills get paid because I had to know what he was doing because I was taught even going through a lot of people before you get married, you need to go to marriage counseling.
Mm.
A lot of people don't do that. They just go and jump into marriage. And even when I went through marriage counseling, I had to learn how to just, when you marry someone, you have to adjust to that income. You adjust to that income. You put yourself in a position, you can't say, well, he got this and I make this. So I'm going to go turn up since I could do this and do that because I got some more money. No, you adjust yourself to where he's the man, the head. He provides and take care of the household. But you be cautious enough to always put back because no one is promised. You don't know how your life may turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a friend of mine that she used to be provided for from her husband was good and everything, and her money, she made good money, but she blew every chance she get. She wanted to party and buy. Everything was got to be name brand, top notch, expensive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And husband lost the job. Wasn't no money coming in, but you ain't got no money saved up. So tell me, where were your skills of the wife at? You just thought because you had this husband making good money and he was providing and you was doing everything you want to do, you never prepare. Always prepare yourself. I'm not saying hide anything from your significant other, but always let it be known that when if something may happen to him or you, you never know.
The next red flag is when you meet somebody new and they want to rush into a relationship. Like you might meet them in 1 week and then the next week they all in love with you and they ready to start a relationship. That's a dysfunction because you don't even really know that person.
Yeah,
Basically, that's what the article is. That runs me off.
That is you shouldn't have to rush.
Yeah.
You know, but I've heard people say, you know, like you say, the older generation that passed, hey, people say they fell in love at first sight. You know, we got to stop looking at I'm one of them. I'm a sucker for Hallmark. Hallmark always having all these
movies,
love,
fictional.
Yeah. All these love movies telling you, oh, they meet on the first time, they fall in love, happily ever after and stuff. No, let's be realistic.
That American dream that I learned is not real.
Right.
It may be real for some people. I'm going to say it's not real.
And I'm not saying you can't meet the love of your life.
I'm just saying you get a husband, you get a wife, you have the kids, you get the house. I mean, things may not go in that order.
Mm-hmm.
It's a path that you have to take to get to that.
Yeah.
It might not be the way that you want it, not like the Hallmark movies. It's a
No.
path to that. One last one I found red flag is sleep schedule. And if I'd have read that before my last relationship, I would never understood. See how you look and you don't understand. My ex was a night owl. He stayed up all night long. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. That became a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We began to bicker. I began sitting up in places sleep just to please him.
Yeah.
So sleep schedules is important. I would never understood that if I hadn't lived that. So that's why I want to bring that up.
Yeah.
As crazy as it is,
but it's true.
You got to meet somebody doing the same things that you're doing. That's what I used to tell my daughter.
You do. That's why I say comparable. Somebody that y'all comparable. You can't meet that when it's when y'all not comparable, it's not gonna work. It's gonna always be some strife. You're gonna always have friction.
Yeah, exactly. So this is gonna conclude this episode. Do you have any more advice that you might tell somebody going forward?
Well, going forward, I'm gonna tell everyone, like I say, and I think I really sit high. This is at the highs of my mind. Learn how to self-love. Love yourself. Learn how to love you first before you can even reciprocate love to someone else. Because a lot of us don't know how to love ourselves, let alone receive it nor give it to someone else. So learn how to love yourself first. Take time out to really get to know who you are, what it is you want, what it is you like, what makes you kick. You know, because until you find out your flaws and your imperfections and who you really are, your life is never going to be the way you want it with someone. You might be cool by yourself, but being with someone, no, you really need to learn how to be with you and just do you. I like my little group you know about. Doing you. Doing you don't always consist of saying you got to be out here doing all this crazy stuff. Doing you is living life, being happy with yourself, enjoying yourself. Life is about enjoyment. Life's supposed to be happy. God said, yeah, you're going to have trials and tribulations. You're going to go through things, but you should be able to endure and fight and keep going, moving forward. I just say, be happy with yourself. Love yourself. Self-love.
That is very important. And finding your inner strength.
Yes.
That would be my advice to people. Find your inner strength. Once you find that inner strength, then everything else is going to start to fall into play. Because there's a whole lot of things we want to do, we don't do because we feel like we're not strong enough to do it. But you have that strength.
Yeah.
You have to find it. Self-love.
Mm-hmm. Very important.
When you love yourself, you're going to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You're not going to let nothing hurt you or do anything damaging to you because you love yourself. And I read this thing where this guy, which is crazy, he used a car as an example. He said, when you love your car, you see these men with these expensive cars, they wash, they wax, they take good care of those cars. Well, you need to find out how to do that for yourself.
Exactly.
If you go get a massage or you want to read a book, love on yourself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like someone you said, it ain't always about makeup and clothes. You got to like who you are on the inside before you can do anything.
And believe me, pretty women, we have struggles too. So I understand about insecurities. Because everybody have some sense of insecurity with them.
So I hope with this recording that you now know that, it's okay to have flaws. It's okay to have flaws. What's not okay is not to acknowledge it and fix it. You won't find out everything about yourself, but if you do see something, just fix it and go on. Don't dwell on it. You can't change the past. You learn from it and you move forward. Please don't stay stuck in some situation that you really don't have to be. It's always somebody to talk to. There's always somewhere to go. Find yourself. I like to surround myself with positive people.
Yes.
I like to surround myself with women that's going places, doing things. It changes your mindset.
Yes. Very important.
Very important. And it's
Very.
one place that I go and I surround myself with these women. And I don't care how many times I fall off. When I walk through the door, that the person that owns this place gonna tell me the same thing. Come on, Nikki. And I'm like, okay, I'm back home. She said, okay. And she'll just act like nothing ever happened and go on. But I have to surround myself with people like that. And people that's going to tell you the truth. Whether it's going to hurt you, let them people tell you the truth about yourself. Because we don't see ourselves some things that we do or we have done to other people. So let somebody, if somebody's in your life and they're willing to tell you the truth, let them. That's important.
It's very important.
Because I had several women break me down real quick.
It's important. And I feel is one more thing before I go. I feel you need to encourage yourself. Know how to encourage yourself. Yes, it's wonderful to have people that can be able to encourage, but it's very much so important for you to learn how to encourage yourself.
Yeah. Because waiting on people.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we are here in Texas, but you will be in the psych ward in top listening to people.
That's right. But I want to give a shout out.
Oh, girl, we are not on the radio, but okay.
But I want to tell a friend of mine because you did an episode about breast cancer.
Oh, yes.
Or cancer, period. And I have a friend of mine. Her name is Vernita Price. And I want to lift her up in prayer. I want everybody just to pray for her. She's have cancer, but she's in remission and everything. And I just want to say, I want my sister to know that I love her and keep fighting. And I know last month was breast cancer.
Yes.
So cancer.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure for all the people, I have y'all in my prayers. I may not know who they are, but I want to make sure everybody know that this is something serious. So we got to keep everyone lifted up, you know.
And in that episode that I talked about cancer, the young lady said, know your body.
Yes.
Know your body. And this falls in line with getting to know yourself as well.
Exactly.
It's very important.
Yes.
In all aspects of your life.
Yes.
Men and women. If you like what you just heard here, please. When I started this journey, I thought everybody listened to podcasts. I'm slowly finding out a lot of people don't even know what a podcast is. So if you're listening to me on a podcast, can you please subscribe to my channel if you like what you just heard? If you're seeing me on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment or tell me about a show maybe that you want to talk about. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.